Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. More public comment. James R. True.
Thanks, Mick. I'm Jim True, and I just have a couple little comments. There's a part of this discussion that to me is just, it's personally just sad. But unfortunately, given the state of affairs in this country, I think it's important to have this country and have this conversation and have governments like you take steps such as passing this resolution. So despite the sadness and the whole nature of the conversation, I just applaud you and encourage you to go forward with this resolution and adopt it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Isaiah Coleman.
I'm Isaiah Coleman of Aspen. Without wishing to confuse matters, the oath that's being proposed here, it amounts to an oath, seemingly applies simply to elected officials. Shouldn't this be part of the swearing in of law enforcement officers?
Well, they do take an oath.
I understand that, but the contents that are being discussed this evening, shouldn't those be incorporated into that oath?
Bob?
Well, my deputies all take this exact oath. I can't speak for other law enforcement officers, but when I appoint and commission a deputy sheriff, they repeat this oath and sign it, and it is filed with the clerk's office.
Well, that's good to hear, and I would suggest that model should be used for the other agencies in the community.
Could you read that for us, please?
I got the oath, John.
I have the actual oath too.
That's just the one for
You want me to read it?
You can read it.
Patty, go ahead.
This is not the section out of the Colorado Constitution. This is the copy of the oath that's actually taken by elected officials and the deputies for the sheriff's office in Pitkin County. It says, I, and then you say your name, do solemnly swear by the ever-living God that I will support the Constitution of the United States and of the state of Colorado, and that I will faithfully perform the duties to the best of my ability of the office of Pitkin County Commissioner, upon which I'm about to enter. That's the oath we take now currently as elected officials.
I want to point out that I struck by the ever-living
Living
God
God
from my oath and from my deputy's oath.
Well, I think Dorothea was silent on that part too when we did that one.
Well, I don't know who's God. I don't know if he's ever living, but
That's
we
just
take
about-
the same oath. All the deputies that are appointed and commissioned take that oath and live up to it.
Well, the Colorado Constitution provides that we shall take an oath to support the Constitution of the United States and the state of Colorado and faithfully perform the duties of the office upon which we are about to enter. It doesn't include the language about an ever-loving God, but we as a group, and I think at the conclusion of the proceedings after we consider and adopt or not adopt a resolution, should undertake an oath along those lines. I think it's an appropriate way to conclude this meeting. But we are still in the meeting, and we are still listening to local comment, and I thank you for pointing out that constitutional provision, and I will take testimony all the way back there.
Hello, I'm Peg O'Brien, part of the Wood Creek Caucus, and I just stand in support of all actions and considerations which support our Bill of Rights and applaud all the work that Dwight, all the commissioners and all are putting into this, and know that the intention of the saying of the oath again by our elected officials was to reaffirm their stand for us on the Bill of Rights, which will help us know that they know that we know what they know.
Who knows where that will lead? All right. She's a know-it-all. All right. We have more public comment, I'm sure. I can't believe that we've run out of public comment. Somebody out there needs to raise their hand. This is ridiculous. Yes? No? No further public comment? Kevin, you had something to add?
Sure, I just wanted to speak as far as what John had to say about the ignorance of America. I'm one of those ignorant people, and I got scared. And I reached out to my community, and they stepped up at the Woody Creek Caucus and helped me, and they brought this forward. You know, I'm working a lot, and I've got other concerns, and I can't keep up with things that are going on day to day. But when I feel that my freedom of movement is limited, the local caucus was there to assist me and tell me it was valid, and thank you all for being here. I was smart enough to reach out.
Right, you had another comment?
This is technical. My recommendation is on your resolution. I would suggest that you also distribute it to the chair and ranking member of the judiciary committees of both houses of Congress. I think those would be good additions.
I think that's a good
I want to just indicate, by the way, that it's ironic, but today we have a video team from the Canadian Broadcasting Company who are doing a documentary on this. Unfortunately, it's something we will not see on American television, cable or network, or C-SPAN.
Unless we take over Canada as we tried to do. As we have a history for trying to do in the olden days.
They're the ones we seceded from, so it's interesting that their interest is superior to that of our own media.
Well, we still do, as Patty pointed out, we still do have grassroots, so we'll get to see it, although we may not have the same perspective, since they're on a different side of the room. Okay. That being public comment, yes.
Sarah Diamond, I'd like to know what the difference is between the Privacy Act and the Patriot Act.
Well, it's quite a bit if it's got, you want to talk about government?
Well, the Privacy Act is the Privacy Act is preempted by the Patriot Act. Okay, I mean the Patriot Act is more of an intrusive rather than a protection. The Privacy Act was supposed to protect, not permit intrusion into your privacy.
I find that you get to a certain point, I mean, for some reason I have a Privacy Act. You get to a certain point, nobody can tell you anything. You know, they get to a certain point, they send you to a different department, and that's it.
Oh, are you talking about like FOIA?
Credit cards or, things like that.
Well, you know what, excuse me, but I think Sarah, I think what you're asking about is we most frequently contact in our credit card bills. And our banks regularly send you small print telling you your rights and your right to not have them disclose your account balances and your credit transactions and under what circumstances they can do that and so on, that notice. The Patriot Act actually, has correctly been pointed out, superseded that and, in fact, how can I say, subverted or obviated the application of the Act so that the Patriot Act basically said even though you have these rights to privacy, they don't exist with respect to certain governmental agencies and certain actions, not all of which will be disclosed to you, but basically nullified a good portion of that Act. And that's what we tried to hear, the explanation we had.
Part of your public, but I sort of am. But I'd like to raise a point here about privacy. Everyone needs to check with their utility company, with their phone company, with their ISP, with their credit card company, and with their bank to find out whether or not they are indeed complying with what they told you were your privacy rights. And if they are complying with it, then they're not giving them information to the NSA. More than likely, they will not tell you exactly what they're doing. But I think it's important that you ask them.
And one of the problems is they may not know what they're doing. And so we had the application with Quest, where Quest said, you know, they were disclosing information, then came back and said, no, we weren't really doing that, we were withholding it, and so nobody is even certain, even at Quest, what was being disclosed and what was being shared.
They were not disclosing for a period of time, and that's all they'll tell you. It was after that period of time that the privacy protection gets more muddled.
That's right. I didn't steal Johnny's milk money on Tuesday.
Right.
okay?
But I did on principle.
But I'm not saying. Well, at this point, we want to get the elected officials, have elected officials comment on the resolution. I think the appropriate way to do this, to frame this discussion, is to have a motion and a second, because the county commissioners need to go through that formality. Then we'll go around the table for discussion and see if we can vote on, is there such a motion, and who would like to make it?
To approve the resolution?
That's what we would do.
I want to make a motion to approve the resolution of the Board of County Commissioners of Pitkin County, Colorado, concerning the USA Patriot Act, the Bill of Rights, and the Constitutions of the United States of America and the State of Colorado.
Yes. Yes.
And I want to do that with the amendments made as to...
So the resolution is amended to provide that Aspen Center for Physics, not of Physics.
and the change
Paragraph
of
8.
citizens to people.
Paragraph 8 is changed to reflect the actual constitutional language, people, not citizen. All right, and we had another?
And that's also in paragraph 5 also.
Right. Okay, do we have any other changes there?
We could deal with the events of your committees as well.
The distribution of this doesn't need to be in the resolution, but I suppose we can add that.
And Chairman Ireland, I would also like to ask that if this resolution is passed by the Board of County Commissioners, that we have a signature line for each and every county commissioner, because I think that shows our support across the board.
Okay, I think that's a good idea. I don't mind signing for the board, but I think it would be an honor and privilege to share that with everybody, and so that's our motion. We have a second, well, we had a second by Jack Hatfield, but we have a seconders on the amendments and the move of the resolution. I think we'll start the public comment at this end with Bob Broadus, Bob being the sheriff. Comment on the resolution of what you've heard today.
Well, I wholeheartedly support the resolution. I'm proud of my Board of County Commissioners. With a lot of assistance from Dwight, I've crafted a policy statement that is very comprehensive, and I'm proud to say my department has been complying with way in advance of this policy statement, basically defending the rights of the people vis-a-vis those two constitutions. They that give up essential liberty to obtain a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety.
Ben Franklin.
And Franklin. How far are we going to go for security? The government of Pitkin County is an example of the separation of powers. I'm from the executive branch of government, and I've been lucky to have a copacetic relationship with the legislative branch of Pitkin County government, who only have budgetary powers over me. Now, every budget is a political document. I think that in the 20 years roughly that I've been the sheriff, nothing that I've wanted to do on a line item budget or a program budget has been disputed by the Board of County Commissioners. Dwight talked about our forefathers, the real patriots. They were committing capital crimes in the eyes of King George. They would have been hung if they could have got their hands on them. Today, our biggest threat is from within. It's our own government, it's us, that is threatening what people bled for and died for in 1776 and a few years after that. So Pitkin County, and hopefully the city of Aspen and the other townships in the county, will acknowledge the sensibility of the resolution that the BOCC here just passed and add our names to those growing political subdivisions who have come together as communities, have agreed on covenants in order to survive, and hopefully have an oversight over the big brother community we call the United States of America. So I want to thank Dwight, the BOCC, the witnesses, and all the people who support this kind of statement, this kind of action, and direct it towards the national and state level. As Dwight mentioned in one of his memos, all politics are local. The power flows up, doesn't come down. We give people power upwardly. If they are abusing it, it's up to us to let them know. So, thanks everybody. Nick, I yield the floor to my chairman.
Jack Hatfield.
Yes, thank you everyone for being here, and special thanks should go to Dwight and the Woody Creek Caucus for bringing this forward. Even as an elected official, I have to say that I wasn't proactively thinking about bringing this to our public, not only because we have a lot of things going on, but I heard in different communities around the country this was happening, and I have to say I was just twiddling my thumbs or something. So guilty as stated, but thank you again for the Woody Creek Caucus. This is so integral to our democracy, the Bill of Rights, that we would certainly have a country in chaos if certain individuals and ways of thinking were essentially leading us. But we have a document that stands for all time, and that's the Bill of Rights and the Constitution. Rightfully so, Ben Franklin weighed in on this, of course, a couple centuries ago. Other people did too, and one of the most important aspects is the right to dissent of this Bill of Rights, and that's about freedom of speech. Without freedom of speech, we would be cowering in our homes because of what's happening in our national, in the national arena, as it were. Maybe the intent of the Patriot Act is a positive, but certainly the operation of it is criminal, as far as I'm concerned, and the abuses, and we heard some of those examples tonight. The expansion of police powers under the auspices of to deal with terrorism is another thing that is actually, for me, criminal. I feel we are so fortunate to live in a community that historically, since the 70s, I should say, have had a local government, Board of County Commissioners, local sheriffs who have been proactive and respectful of people's rights. I can remember the days when I was in L.A. with the L.A. Tactical Police Force. Kevin, I know exactly what you were talking about, why we're here, for sure. What we're talking about here is about patriotism, and that's a very important point, I think. There's this constant debate about nationalism versus patriotism, and nationalism is if you don't agree with the president, go somewhere else, and all that stuff. But patriotism, that actually allows us to dissent, have an opinion, and pursue our rights when necessary under the auspices of the legal system. President Theodore Roosevelt said patriotism means to stand by the country. And it's very appropriate the rest of his statement is applicable to today. It does not mean to stand by the president. It's a shame. My comments are not meant to be partisan, whether they're Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, anything. My comments are about what really is the foundation of what makes America. And I thank you all for being here and showing the support. And there are many, many, many of us in this community, in this valley, the state and the country that feel exactly as us. And I actually feel a lot of stress about what's going on. It's actions like this, and if we can get the ball rolling, that hopefully we will take back our country and our Bill of Rights. Thank you for the moment.
Rachel.
Thank you. I'm sure we all have a quote or two that's a favorite that we've been reading through and looking up, and I have two that I would like to frame my comments with. Justice William O. Douglas had said, "The Constitution is not neutral. It was designed to take the government off the backs of people." And as we read through the Bill of Rights, I am always impressed with how well constructed they are, how intertwined, that we were protected as free individuals from all different sides, whether it was our personal effects, our possessions, our choice of religion, or our choice of no religion. the right to dissent, the right to free speech. It's a very careful construction that I think we're slowly seeing breached, as John Van Ness has said, through one action of government or another. Which leads me to Thomas Jefferson's quote, that the natural progress of things is for liberty to yield and government to gain ground. And I think we have in particularly been seeing that at this time. I've been doing a lot of thinking about what it means to be living in a time of war. And we're in a community that is very insulated from a lot of those effects. I think perhaps American society as a whole is being insulated from the real effects of war. And someone had said, "How are you?" the other day, and I normally say, "Great." And I thought, can I really say that in a time of war? Like, is it really true to just ignore the people dying, the liberties moving away from the center where they belong, all the different effects, and this is even more heightened now with the Middle East conflict. And everyone has a certain cloud, certain sadness, saying, where is it leading? Where is it all leading us? So I really would like to take the moment to thank Dwight Shellman and the Woody Creek Caucus and you, Kevin, for bringing this forward. I think it's really very timely. Cy Coleman had brought us a resolution on the original Patriot Act to the City Council, which was passed a period of time ago. But more has continued to unfold, and it's time to speak out again. I think it's very appropriate, as Bob has alluded to, that whether it's citizens in a group like this or a table like this, but it's grassroots up, that this country was founded from the grassroots up. It is protected from the grassroots up. And my son, Jacob, is in college at Mesa State in Grand Junction. And he has, for the past couple of years, been really active with a group called A Voice of Reason. And he would tell me, "Oh yeah, we're wiretapped. They're listening to us. We had a peace vigil last Friday. The phone clicks all the time. We had cars across the street." I don't know if it's, I'm not there to know what's happening. But when the NSA story first broke that the National Security Administration was eavesdropping on ordinary Americans, they immediately organized a vigil the night that Move On did, and went to the steps of the federal buildings in Grand Junction and said the words that I luckily caught on a little Grand Junction television station, that we shouldn't be afraid, that we can't be afraid of speaking out. And I just listened to this truth coming out of the mouth of 20-year-olds. And I just thought, thank goodness that they're there, and thank goodness we're there to say we're backing you up, and that this is what has always made our country great. So I just would like to thank everyone who's been involved in bringing this further, and proud to be able to, I think as City Council we'll have to take an action separately because we're not comprised as a formal meeting tonight, but I'd like to thank the Board of County Commissioners for inviting the City Council to this meeting.
Are you saying that you can't take upon yourself the power of the entire City Council, since that seems to be